The marriage record in the clerk's office has them registered as Mr. and Mrs. William Travis. But to us, they're just plain Diana and Bill. Yes, and now they're on a trip to Oregon's famous Crater Lake on their honeymoon. They're climbing up to the rim of the lake to where they can get a good view. But something's gone wrong. Diana's tired out. After all, it is a tough climb. Bill insists, come on, we're almost to the top. It's only a few steps farther. You go on and just tell me about it. What, you're this close and you'd go home without seeing it? I don't care, she tells him. I've got a boulder in my shoe that's as big as a house and as sharp as the Washington Monument. Why we ever came this way when there's a perfectly good lookout on the highway. Just look at the size of this. Why, that's nothing to get excited about. This brings Diana just about up to the boiling point. After all, it's her foot. She knows how much it hurts. He tells Diana not to blow up. They've had one explosion there already, and that's enough. Explosion, she asks him. Yes, when the mountain blew up. Don't you know that Crater Lake lies in the cone of an old volcano? Mount Mazama was once a mighty peak, possibly some 10,000 feet high. About 7,000 years ago, a terrific eruption occurred, and vast quantities of hot ash were blown far into the heavens and spread for miles over the surrounding countryside. For days, molten lavas and red-hot sand poured down the mountain slopes, destroying the forests teeming with wildlife. Its force spent, the volcano subsided, and the interior of the mountain collapsed into the void formed by the thrown-out material, leaving a steaming, fuming cauldron. This was then cooled and filled by the melting snows. And now we can stand on the rim and look down into the lake some 2,000 feet below. This sounds pretty terrific to Diana. How far? 2,000 feet in places. Sometime later, possibly 1,000 years or two, a smaller eruption occurred, and the hot ash and lavas forced their way up from the lake bottom, forming what we see today and call Wizard Island. Well, come on, he tells her. It's just a little way to the top, and I'll help you. But Diana pulls back. She's afraid of high places. Well, she'll just stay there. Bill's had enough. All right, you can just sit. And he goes on up to the rim. Ooh, that man. Well, it seems that the honeymoon does have its complications. But we're glad that Bill retrieved Diana's shoe. Of course, she doesn't know it. She didn't see him pick it up. She's too unhappy about everything. You, Bill Travis, she's thinking you're going to find out that your wife has a little pride and personality of her own. So there. You know what happened? That little shoe of yours went sailing right over the rim into the beautiful wet liquid of Crater Lake. And how is Diana going to walk now? How'll she get up there with just one shoe? It doesn't seem to worry Bill. Well, she'll just have to make the best of it. And here it is, hundreds of feet below, set like a jewel, high in the Cascades, Crater Lake. No wonder Diana and Bill are speechless. The water is a deep cerulean blue, encircled by colorful cliffs, rugged slopes. The phantom ship, like the ancient mariners, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Wizard Island, a part of the collapsed peak that forced its way up above the surface of the lake. And here, looking into the top, we see the crater of that later eruption. Part of the crater wall. Here is shown the weathering of lavas of different hardness, the harder rocks standing out from the rest. The Devil's Backbone, a molten mass of rock that shoved up through the terrain and cooled in this jagged shape. The surrounding rocks, being softer, have eroded away. At times, Crater Lake is tempestuous and moody. At other times, serene as we see it today. Each hour of the day sees a variation in its intensities of light. It's famous for its ever-changing hues. Here it is in one of its darker moods. Remnants of giant trees line the shores of the lake, gnarled victims of the elements, lightning perhaps, or winter's extreme cold. Here we have a visitor. A nutcracker, a member of the crow family, finding his dinner. A cashed nut perhaps. Unlike Diana, he's not afraid of high places, though he does seem a little cautious. With his dinner finished, he's taking a look at the scenery. Even though he probably sees it every day, he seems to be impressed with the view. The changing colors of the lake reflect the varying moods of the sky. At times, shifting with the weather momentarily from gray to blue, and to a deeper blue. For the convenience of travelers, a paved highway follows along the rim of the crater. For some 30 miles around the lake, we look down onto its mirrored surfaces and colorful crater walls. No streams flow into the lake, and there are no visible outlets. The necessary loss of water is accounted for by seepage and evaporation. It's replenished annually by the heavy snows that fall directly into the lake and on its surrounding slopes during the winter months. Looking north, Diamond Lake and Diamond Peak. Beyond, the winter ski grounds, Mount Thielsen, 9,000 feet. And here, looking for a moment away from the lake, the trees silhouette the dying glory of a sunset in all its glowing color. As daylight fades into night, the stillness settles here and over the lake. Another couple watching the changing scene. Crater Lake was discovered in 1853 by John Hillman, a prospector hunting for gold. What his thoughts must have been as his eyes met this wonder of nature's, now enchanting Diana and Bill. Alpine firs grow on one of the more rugged walls. A shoe dropped here could easily end in the water. Suddenly, Diana remembers her shoe. Could that be it? Bill doesn't think so. In fact, he's pretty sure that it isn't. But there's a trail down to the water's edge. What Diana thought was her shoe actually was a boat. But there's something else. That isn't a boat or a rock. Some of yesterday's news. Well, Diana can't wear that. But down here at the water's edge, problems such as these are temporarily forgotten in the enchantment of the surroundings. The impressiveness of Wizard Island from this closer view, with its covering of mountain hemlock and its dark volcanic soil. An immense slide that resembles a wine glass. The brilliance of the flowers and the reflection in the lake. And here, the shimmering whiteness of the water and the steepness of the cliffs. Lingering winter snows. An artist's paradise, all created by nature. Bill tells Diana that the lake measures 5.5 miles across. But this tourist insists it's 5 3/4. Well, what's a quarter of a mile, more or less? The sun has disappeared over the edge of the rim, and the shadows are lengthening out from the crater wall over the lake, as Diana and Bill reluctantly leave, following the trail upward. It has all been a thrilling and exciting adventure, something they will long remember. Suddenly, Bill looks down. Why, Diana, where's your other shoe? My shoe? When I found out it was just a piece of paper, I threw it away. But, Diana, it's only a joke. I had your shoe all the time. Luckily, Diana had another pair of shoes in the car. This little story might have ended as a tragedy, but it didn't. Perhaps because they're young and in love, or maybe it's the enchantment of what they have just seen. Beautiful Crater Lake, the jewel of the Cascades in Oregon's Wonderland.